Well, happy Labor Day weekend to the Ghost Squad as well as the Clover crew. It is September 1st, 2024. Time for another Ghost and Clover podcast powered by our friends over at EAA, European American Armory. And we'll chat more about them here later on. Just be mindful of that. Ghost, of course, member of Self Defense Radio Network. Both of us are members of the Firearms Radio Network, so you can catch the Ghost and Clover replays along with all the other podcast replays on those networks if you so choose. Uh, we've got who knows what kind of topics we've got in store, but keep in mind out there we will give one. Well, I don't know if it's lucky or not, but we'll give one listener, one live listener, the opportunity to pick our third topic of the evening. And with that, let's get Ghost in here. What's up, man? Other than work, of course.
Yeah, it's been crazy this weekend. Just busy, man. It's been a long month of August. I'm kind of glad it's over. So September's not going to be too bad, and then October is really busy again, and then November I go into hibernation a little bit. So
almost.
I got August. Yeah, I got August out of the way, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Looking forward to TriggerCon here in a bit, and in a few weeks, and the fucking rain is set back in here, which is horrible, dude. Like,
see, I need it. We haven't had rain in forever, and I desperately need some rain.
So you know me, I like to drop the event content like as quickly as possible, like every day or whatever, which really probably shouldn't do, but who wants to watch that 6 months from now? And so of course I've been doing that, and the weather's been great, and then I get all that dropped, and it's like, okay, let's get back out on the range. I knock out some of this other stuff, and here comes the 30-40% chance of rain every day for like a week. I'm like, my God, did we get enough of this? Like, a month ago.
So what you're saying is you've been a pleasant son of a gun.
God, you can go ahead and say it. You can say it. I don't care.
Whiny bitch syndrome.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah.
Even when you leave the state, it followed you all the way to Knoxville.
It does. It does. Man, I'm going to tell you what. I was justified in most of that shit, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That was redonk.
That was bad.
Yeah. But it happens. It happens.
Yeah, it does happen.
You're out there. If you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to relive it.
No, not at all.
But that was overall. That was a good trip. I mean,
it was a good trip. Yeah, it was a good trip, and you guys have heard all we were going to say more about the GOA goals, and it was a great show. If you didn't get a chance to go this year, well, guess what? You'll get a reboot in Knoxville early August of 2025, and then it will be changing locations. And I had a really great conversation with John a few days ago. The 3 locations that are in the finals for choosing, I think, will all be fun. So either way it goes, I think we'll have a good time. But yeah, make sure you get the goals next year. It was a really good show. Much better than a lot of us anticipated. Not that we didn't think it was going to be a good show. It's just, it's the first year, and we know that there's going to be things that go wrong. And there were things that need to be cleaned up and tightened up. But I think if you were there as the public, I probably bet you had a really good time.
Yep. True. You got first topic?
I got first topic. All right. So we're going to talk cars because we haven't talked cars in a long minute. So what we're going to do is we're going to say this, and you can tie this into a road trip, or just if you're in Vegas or you're somewhere, whatever, however you want to do it. But if you were given a free rental of any like exotic car for like 48 hours, and you can do with it what you want. Let's do like top 3, like 3 vehicles that we would love to like rent. It's not going to cost us a thing. We don't have to pay for gas. We don't have to pay anything. It's just, here's a car for 48 hours. Have fun. What are some of the cars that you'd be interested in driving?
Hmm. So, I mean, a Countach would have to be pretty high on the list
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
to start with.
Yep. I mean, how can you not choose the Cannonball Countach, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Even better if you could like spray it with water and make it change colors. But
This would be even better. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and with paint nowadays, they probably
You
have a
probably
paint that would
could.
do
Yeah,
that.
you probably could actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's much more realistic than today's world than it was in 1980, you know?
Yeah, that was like whoa, and it's like now there's cars riding down the street. Depending on which angle you look at them, they're a different color.
Okay, so there's a couple questions out there. Does it have to be a car? No, but it does need to be street legal. You can't say an F1 car or a NASCAR. It's a street legal car, but it doesn't have to be a car. It can be whatever, you know, a truck or van or, you
Yeah.
know, whatever. It has to be a vehicle, put it that way, Ozzy.
Right.
I think Ozzy's saying like an F, you know, an F-16 or something. No, it can't be like that. Got to be a vehicle. So Countach, yeah. Probably like my number 3 would have to be like a Porsche GT3 RS. Talk about the fastest one, if not the fastest, a top few fastest street legal car. Best Porsche maybe ever made as far as performance. Plus, who doesn't like a 911? I mean, who wouldn't want to drive a 911 for a couple of days? It'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Countach. What else would you be interested in?
Let's go. Let's go back old school, man. Let's go 77 Firebird.
Oh, snap. I was not expecting that. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, American Muscle right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotta have the T-tops. Gotta have the 8-track.
I mean, if you don't have the T-tops and the 8-track, then why the hell you got a Firebird for? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, gotta be OG.
Like, I mean, honestly, I mean, when someone says Firebird, like, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's definitely T-tops. You know, yeah, you gotta go the T-tops. That's a classic. That's a classic look. You know, for me, another one, probably my number 2. I'm going to go with the Aston Martin Vanquish. I'm a big Aston guy. Love Aston. My dream, you know, if I had FU money, if my dream car is a Porsche 356, either 56 or 58 Speedster. My number 2 car ever is the 1962/63 Aston DB5, the James Bond car. There's something sexy about that, but I want to go with the Vanquish and updated, you know, probably about 2012, 2013, maybe up to even it's like 2016. Vanquish with those things. A friend of mine had one at one point, and it was probably the most beautiful car I've ever seen in person. It was just gorgeous. So I would love to drive that for 48 hours. That's probably my second car that I would go with.
Yeah.
You got another one?
You know, just because I think this would get a lot of looks, right?
Yeah, sure.
And it would definitely be conversation. The 79 Ford LTD Country Squire.
Okay, I don't even know what that is. Hold on.
That is
1979.
Well, let me tell you. I'll tell you what it's better known as.
LTD Country Squire. Okay, I'm looking it up. Go ahead. Oh, okay. Yep. Okay, I get it. It now.
Yeah, better known as the Wagon Queen family truckster.
The family truckster from Vacation, and it has to have the wood paneling. I mean, it's.
Definitely had to have all the wood siding and whatever. That would, I mean, and think of all the people you could haul around with you too, right?
You could, yeah, including grandma on the top, you know.
Yeah. Couldn't afford to put gas in it, but no. You know, couldn't go far.
But you could put grandma on a folding chair and strap her down to the roof of the car and have no problem. It's been done before. It's been proven, you know.
Yeah.
I tell you what we're going to do after I go with my number 1. We will. I won't give you time to think about this one too, Clove.
Mm.
TV or movie car?
Oh, I done throw two of those
Choose
out,
one.
but I
No,
come
I'm
up with
like, yeah, come up with like a TV or movie car that's like this would be the one or something like that.
like a fictional car or like.
It can be whatever, anything. Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Hmm.
My number one would be probably the Bugatti Veyron, just because who doesn't want to drive a multi-million-dollar car for free?
Yeah,
Plus
true,
it's just badass. I love
true.
Bugattis.
Yeah, you're one of those
Um,
gearheads that knows all these damn cars. I don't. So
so here's the thing. I like late 50s, early 60s roadster slash speedsters. I'm a big roadster fan. That's one of the reasons why I have one. But I love little roadster cars. I appreciate and I respect American muscle cars, but I am not one of those that, oh, give me a GTO or, give me a Thunder Chicken or whatever,
yeah,
I love modern lines on a car. And that's why when you brought up the Countach, what I love about the Countach, that was like 1978, 79, 80. And look at the Countach now. It aged incredibly well. Like back then, it looked like a spaceship. Now, I mean, the original, the
oh
Countaches,
yeah.
they aged so well where they still look good today. And I love those kind of cars,
Yeah, I think the interior could be better
Oh,
now,
100%.
but
Yeah.
the lines and everything externally, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
The
Like
lines are amazing.
take the body, lift the body off, put that on a modern vehicle. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's freaking perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a timeless design, and that's when you know something's good when it's 40 almost 45 years later.
Yeah.
And people like, what, that still looks good, or some would say,
Yeah.
man, that looks better now than it did 40 years ago,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, TV or movie car. What would you just like to have, just maybe to have fun with or whatever? Doesn't have to be a daily drive, obviously,
It has to be set up like the movie car.
Okay. All right. Sure.
Like not like the car that they use to set up, but
no,
like,
the actual, yeah.
And I've seen quite a few set up like that, so I know that they're out there.
Yeah.
But the DeLorean from Back to the Future too.
Yeah. I've only seen like one that was actually set up like it, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, with all the lights and all the stuff and the Cuisinart in the back, and
it got to the point where I thought it might be like, hey, was this, an extra thing? And the guy, no, he says, no, I spent a lot of money doing it this way. And apparently there is a big Back to the Future car club, and a lot of people are in this thing, and they have DeLoreans that have been refurbished to look like the movie car. And
you can,
I guess there's guys that are got the parts, like there's guys that fabricated all these parts for you can like buy to make it look like it's pretty cool.
I've looked into it. So you can buy new in the crate DeLoreans now.
Yeah,
most assembly is required. But I mean, but they're brand new.
Yeah.
And then they do sell the kits.
Yeah.
But by the time you would do that, you're probably going to have, if you did it, even if you did it yourself, you're probably going to have 50, 60 grand in it.
Yep.
And if you paid somebody to do it all, I mean, 100 grand, I don't even know what
probably.
It would cost.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. The Monster Mobile out there was mentioned. I'm going to, that'd be great, wouldn't it? I would say the family vehicle from the Beverly Hillbillies. Why? I don't know, but I'm not going to say that one. Wouldn't that be cool as hell, though?
Yeah.
But I had forgotten about it until you said the Countach. So I'm going to go with the ambulance from Cannonball Run. With Dom DeLuise and Burt Reynolds. And something like that, like what G should make his into the Cannonball Run band. He really should.
Yeah, right.
It wouldn't take much for him to do that, just some stickers and stuff. But the Cannonball Run van, I think, is iconic for me for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Now we've talked cars, and I could talk cars, forever. And we need, Clover, me, you, and Chase, and some others. We need to sometime when it starts slowing down, do another Speed Limit 155 podcast. I could have talked cars forever, but
I
Speaking of
hear you.
Chase, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to do some. I'm itching to do some stuff on the card channel,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah.
it's because I feel you, man. Same way. Like I really want to get on
I
there and
miss
talk
it.
old sports, and yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I do miss it.
That's the getaway. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that
It's
that's the
like,
fun stuff. Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's the fun stuff.
We get a taste of it with this show, but
Yeah, a little bit, and that's what I'm saying. Oh, see, G's out there. He says he would have bought an ambulance, but there weren't any I could afford. Yeah, I'm just saying it. Turn your van into like the Cannonball Run ambulance because it's based off of the van.
it was
You
a
could
van.
easily
Yeah.
do that. Man, you could, and I bet you through Amazon and Amazon Vine or whatever, you could get some like it didn't have to be working, but like siren lights with top of it. Oh man,
Oh,
you could deck it out.
so we all know G makes these like auctions and secondhand
Mm-hmm.
stores and stuff. And you can't tell me there's not some 1980s ambulance lights somewhere
Light
that you could probably get for
somewhere.
like $10 or something,
Absolutely.
They don't even
You
have to
can probably
work,
they
you
can probably
know?
go to a junkyard and find some. Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't have to. It would be even better if they don't work.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Yeah. I
It'd be
don't know. I
so
don't
good.
think there's any rules against impersonating an ambulance. I don't think. I mean, if you were picking
I
sick
think
people up, maybe.
I think that you can't put like official like EMT and like an official like name of one. If you just put lights that make it kind of look like one and some stripes and all that. I don't
Yeah.
know the rules, but I know that there
Well,
are rules,
I know that with the
but they're not
volunteer fire
huge
department,
rules.
with the volunteer fire department here,
Yeah.
which I mean anybody can join a volunteer fire department. We could have lights and run lights and do things. The only thing if we got caught running reds or something, you know what I mean, speeding,
Yeah.
and we weren't going to a fire or something,
Yeah.
that would be problematic. But so I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
EAA, huh?
EAA, yeah. So speaking of chasing,
Who are those guys? I don't know.
I don't know. There are some guys from Florida, from Florida, that are importing some crazy, scary guns. And
They're check cash. That's all I care about.
this is true. They're check cash, and we'll talk great about them. No, that was great seeing Chase and Paul, obviously in Knoxville. Had dinner with them a couple different times, but that's always great seeing those guys. But yeah, EAA, you guys know all about EAA. As a matter of fact, I think I put a video out today, and we were talking about range day at Knoxville, and the top three guns were the tip up, the 2311, and the high power. But I tell you what, when I looked over, I know your wife was one of them that shot it, but when I looked over there during range day, a lot of people were still handling and shooting that regard, and it was kind of fun to see the regard. It was kind of like the old staple in the hand, but it's still getting a lot of love out there.
Yeah, and it should. Yeah, I think my wife. And it was a lot of it was Paul. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
but he kind of just moved her on down the line. I think she actually shot everything. I didn't, of course. We've shot everything that they have a billion times over. So
yeah,
it's not like we don't know what all they got,
right,
how they shoot. But yeah, I think she shot them all. I would guess, and this is just from my experience from paying attention to range days with the Gerson stuff and the EAA.
Yeah,
that I think what gets the most love is the high power.
Yeah.
It just seems like that high power. And so when you think about it, we were talking about how they won, handgun of the year or whatever.
Yep.
And there was so many candidates. There's so many ways.
Well, we thought the tip up was going to win. Yeah. And they had two guns in the same running for it.
Well, and then we thought maybe the 2311, and then and it was the high power. We were like, I get it, but I don't get it. And since then, I've gotten it. Like I see how much people enjoy that. It's the best shooting high power out there. Period.
It is. Period. Hands down. Speaking of EA, I want to address this real quick. Foxtrot 69 up there says recently diagnosed with Parkinson's. I own a Shield 380 EZ and love it. A friend is telling me to buy a Ruger Security 380 light rack. Are there any good guns? I'm not a Ruger guy. Not saying they're bad guns. I'm just not a Ruger guy. But if you like 380 and you're looking for something that's going to be easy to rack, we're literally talking about the greatest gun out there for you is the Gerson MC14 tip up. You don't have to rack the slide at all. You literally tip up the barrel, put a round in there, put the magazine in, and it does it for you. And it's the 380, and I guarantee you it's a better gun than either one of those guns you're mentioning. I love a shield, don't get me wrong, but the tip up, the MC14T, is a better gun than both of those, and you don't have to rack the slide at all. I'm being dead serious. It has absolutely nothing to do with, we're talking EAA. I have one. Clover has one. They are phenomenal guns, and talking about someone with lessening hand strength or whatever, I'm telling you, that's the one you need to check out. Just go to EAA Corp's website, and you can just find the MC14T. It comes in a lot of different colors, and I'm telling you. And by the way, I am sorry to hear about the Parkinson's. I feel for you, homie. But there is a gun out there that can really, 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 really help you.
We both know Shecky Dave.
Yep.
And so getting into shooting sports can certainly help.
Absolutely.
So with all that, so you're on the right track. I would give a couple of a couple. I guess I don't know if it's a couple or not, but I'd give a caveat to the MC14T.
Yeah.
And I like the 14T, but I've made it better. So one thing you got to realize about the 14T is the design of the handgun, because a lot of folks will they'll try the 14T and they're like, oh my God, the recoil is just too snappy. It's a different recoil impulse than you're going to be used to with any of your poly guns or things like that. However, if you, pardon me, I got a call. Hold on.
Yep.
If you've been around the block and you've shot any of the Beretta Cheetahs of old, recoil impulse is exactly the same as a Beretta Cheetah. And it's just because of the design. One of the things that tremendously helps with that is to switch out to some lock grips or some other company with some really aggressive texture grips. Mm-hmm. And that will eliminate, or it won't eliminate, but it'll make that recoil impulse feel just so much better. Yeah, you can get a better grip on it, I guess. That's what I'm getting at.
Go check it out. And there's a lot of great ones. There's a lot of really great ones out there, but that's one of them. I would say the gun that I shot at range day at Knoxville pleasantly surprised me was the new Bodyguard from Smith & Wesson. It's a shrunk down M&P. It's not like the old days. It's a little bit better. But now here's the thing. Is for your situation, I don't know if it's really going to help a whole lot. So take that for what it's worth. But yeah, go check it out. Clover's getting ready to come in with his topic. But before he does that, we do want to make sure that everyone remembers that right after Clover's topic, we do have the random viewer topic. So in a little bit, we're going to give you what you need to type into the chat to be eligible to be drawn. And once you do, we ask you, start thinking about your topic now. It can be whatever it is. As long as it doesn't get us kicked off online, it could be whatever. Take us down a rabbit hole. We dare you. We dare you to try to find a topic that would stump us. There you go, Ozzy.
Would not be that hard.
It wouldn't be that hard, but it'd be fun to try to stump us. Don't make it easy. Don't throw us a softball. We ask you guys to give us some tough, challenging things to talk about. But if you do get drawn, you're going to get 30 seconds, a minute, whatever, to give us the topic. So go ahead and start thinking about it now to try to stump us a little bit. But up next is Clover's topic, real quick.
So we talk movies pretty often.
Yeah, sure.
And so I didn't know whether to go down this. I kind of went down this kind of rabbit hole on another chat the other night, but it was more on the movie side than it was specific scenes. I don't know if we've talked about like best scene with a gun in movies or not.
Ooh, yeah. We have not. No, I mean,
so it has. I don't remember and haven't went back on the channel to even see. But if so, hey, we're going to this will be part 2, I guess. And we're not. The movie can be complete trash. Like I don't care.
Sure.
Complete trash. I don't care. And there can be one scene that's just wow. That's awesome. That's amazing. And I don't necessarily want to do top 5 or top 3. I mean, we can just kind of
Yeah,
have a conversation
absolutely.
about it. But
Yeah.
one of the ones that is what is that? Dogs of War, where Jonah Hill,
Hmm.
they take his money and they don't give him his weed or whatever it is, and he walks back to the trunk, and you're thinking, okay, he's getting a baseball bat, right? Or
Yeah,
he's
not
what
so
is he?
much. Yeah.
And he pulls out the MP5 and
Yep.
and rips that mag
Um,
off.
man,
Uh,
so good.
it's like one of the best scenes there. There's a lot of good ones, but
There's a
that's one of my favorite.
the first one, and I'm not saying it's my favorite by any means, but when you said it, it's the first one that came to mind. Okay. And I don't remember which it was, if it was Lethal Weapon 2 or Lethal Weapon 3. It was one with Jet Li.
Uh-huh.
And the fight scene between Jet Li and Mel Gibson, where Mel Gibson pulls the Beretta 92 and Jet Li with one hand and one movement, like completely dissects it. Just basically field strips it with no problem whatsoever.
Oh yeah.
And I can't remember which one it was, what lethal it was, but that was the first time I remember going, wow, that was cool. Knowing now that it's actually not that hard to do. But when you're, 10,
Right.
11, 12, 13 years old, you don't know this, especially me not growing up around guns. So yeah, that was, for me, that was cool. Like I said, I'm not saying it's my favorite, but when you said that, that's the first one that popped in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Ozzy out there says Terminator. A specific scene, Ozzy.
Maybe when Arnold is flipping the shotgun on the Harley
That's a pretty good one.
in Terminator 2, that's a pretty cool one.
That's a pretty good one. Got to admit.
Ooh, Final Shootout in Heat, that's a great one. Yeah.
Oh, solo shot first. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like
No
that
doubt
one.
about it.
That's a good one. Predator with the minigun. Oh, 100%.
Oh, I mean, that's got to be on everybody's list of all time, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
just
100%. We talk about it pretty often. Worth mentioning again in case there's somebody out there, but the gunboats or whatever.
Yeah,
and
Act of Valor.
Yeah.
That probably is the best. I'm gonna say the best. That's easily my favorite. You can't beat that. I mean, it's just
right.
I remember, and it has something to do with guns, but the gun wasn't the focal point of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the first Matrix, when he actually becomes Neo and all the bullets around, he just kind of picking them out of the air. That was kind of a really cool scene. Dodging the bullets and all that. What made Matrix famous, that little scene. Yeah.
Well, what about the one where he's like, it's just before the hallway scene, which, going into the elevator, which is an amazing scene in and of itself. Because he just keeps yanking guns out of his trench coat.
Yeah.
But there's no reloading. He throws it down and grabs another one.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the very first, where he goes, we need guns, and all the rats pop in around him, like, oh.
I mean, I guess you could say all of John Wick 1, 2, 3, and 4. I mean,
specifically, I can think of two.
Yeah. Okay.
With John Wick, number one is when he's in Italy or whatever, and it's the dinner reservations or the whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Scene, where he's gearing up, basically.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
What do you have for dessert? Oh, some lovely blades.
Right. And then
something robust,
Yeah. And then the dragon's breath.
I was going to say the dragon's breath in the Continental.
Yeah.
And it's not just because of dragon's breath. That was amazing. But that whole scene was awesome because for the first time in the series, you got to see the concierge, the black guy. He's not just a concierge, apparently. The dude is a badass in himself.
Right.
And they're fighting, and they run back after they realize the other guys are wearing armor, and they run back, and he's like, I got it. He grabs the shotguns, and Keanu happens to have the dragon's breath. Or has he picked that up from somewhere else? I don't know. But the dragon's breath, I remember when I got done watching it the first time, I think I even texted you and said, because you hadn't seen John Wick in any of the movies at this point. And I was like, if there's ever going to be a reason for you to start watching the Wick movies, it's Dragon's Breath. You got to go see it, you know?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah.
The end of Quigley Down Under is one.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Pretty amazing. You know, him and, Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
They you know, if you watch, you know, spoiler alert, movie's older than Noah. But anyway, final deal is a quick draw with him and Alan Rickman's character, the bad guy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Rickman's fast, right? And so anyway, they face off and you know, they draw, and of course Quigley just puts him on his back. And earlier, because he always carried that big rifle around, everybody knows the Quigley rifle. And he was talking about why they asked him why he didn't carry a handgun. And he said, I ain't got much use for one. Ain't got much use for one. It's what he would always say. Yeah. And he walks over and he said, I said I ain't got much use for one. I didn't say I don't know how to use one.
That's it. Yeah, I didn't say. Real quick, Foxtrot out there says went and checked out the Garson 14 flip up. $50 more than the Shield. He's gonna go get one. Thanks for the info. There you go. Enjoy it. Let us know what you think of it. For me, I would have to say when Johnny Ringo shows up in Tombstone thinking that he's meeting Wyatt Earp, and to his surprise, it was Doc Holliday. You're Daisy if you don't. I'm your Huckleberry. All those famous lines. And he's sitting there smoking, and the way that Val Kilmer played, once again, people know that I think that Val Kilmer and as Doc Holliday was hands down by far his best role ever. One of the best roles in cinema history. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And I get why he didn't win an Oscar, but he should have. Yeah. But the way he was just kind of holding that smoke, and he would be tapping the horn of that revolver, and he shot him, put it right back in the holster, and kind of just walked away, and then put the Marshall's bag on top of Johnny Ringo. That's up there. It might be my second favorite behind Act of Valor. I love that scene. You know, it's fantastic.
Well, the part where, and again, guns in it, but one of my favorite scenes in Tombstone. And speaking of Kilmer and Tombstone, if you read any of the stuff from back in the day, obviously there wasn't internet, or it was in its infancy.
Yeah.
They had asked on like Access Hollywood or whatever it was, they would ask the actors, hey, what was it like working with Val Kilmer? And it was a couple of them that said, well, we couldn't tell you that because anytime we've seen him, he was 100% in character. Like we don't know what Val Kilmer was really like because
we know Doc Holliday really well.
Yeah, but it's when they're in the casino that they become partners in. And of course, Doc's drunk. Doc's always drunk, and Ringo and Ringo's flipping his gun around and doing all that.
And he gets his little shot glass.
And they're speaking Latin, and he's got his little tin cup that he.
It's so good. That's the best scene.
Yeah.
That's the best scene in the entire movie. You're right. I guess it does count because Johnny Ringo had a gun, so it was a gun scene.
He was flipping his gun around.
Oh, so good. Yeah. There's so many great scenes in that. I love the one where Wyatt Earp just beats the hell out of the Faro dealer. And I didn't know until years and years later that was Billy Bob Thornton. I didn't know that for a long time, that the fat guy was Billy Bob. I was like, hey, that's Billy Bob Thornton. I had no idea for like 10 years later. I finally figured it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many great scenes in that movie.
Yeah.
What do you say? Are you retired? I'm in my prime. You look it, Lunger, you know.
He's like, are you just gonna stand there and bleed? So that's the Billy Bob Thornton one. You know?
Yeah, he did. He says, oh God, that's so good.
He sounded like, are you gonna get out of here or something, or are you just gonna stand there and bleed?
Stand there and bleed. What a one. And so the reason why that movie honestly will always, for me personally, have a very, very dear spot in my heart. Now this is during boot camp. And the last week of boot camp, you're pretty much done at this point. You're doing some final like swim quals, and you're doing some different stuff, final drill, but mostly you're done. They stop yelling at you at this point. They're treating you like human beings. They're teaching you how to get your uniforms ready and all that. And the day before, the Thursday, so graduation was on a Friday morning, and the night before Thursday, our senior drill instructor spent the night with us, and he was dad, right? The other two were terrified of him, but senior drill instructor was dad. He comes in, he's hanging out with us, he's talking to us like human beings for the first time in 13 weeks. It's kind of wonderful. And he rolls out. Now, and you know what I'm talking about. Some of these younger guys don't know, but he rolled out the TV. And so, the old box TVs that were on the black, thing, you rolled them out if you wanted to take them somewhere. Had a VCR on there. Yes, we had VCRs back there a long time ago. And he said, we're going to watch Tombstone together, guys. And we watched Tombstone. And the second coolest movie I've ever seen. The first one was Braveheart in Okinawa. We had just gotten back from somewhere. We were riled up. They closed it down for us, and we destroyed that place. That's easily the best experience I've ever had in a movie. The second best experience watching a movie was Tombstone, because it was the night before graduation at boot camp. It was phenomenal. So anyways, Tombstone will always, always, always hold a special place in my heart for sure.
Yeah. The, Doc Holliday, speaking of that, it's another cool thing here real quick is he had the Colt Lightnings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I believe it was the first, Expendables. The first Expendables where they're on the pirate ship. They board that pirate ship or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not a pirate ship, but they board a ship the pirates have taken over or whatever.
Yeah.
They had the crew hostage.
Yeah.
They're all lined up.
The big, I don't know what you call it, but the big
freighter or whatever.
Freighter.
Right?
Yeah.
And a countdown, right? They're all lined up. And they do I guess it's Christmas that does the countdown or whatever. But anyway, Barney Stallone, the one that he quick draws in that cross draw.
He did, yeah.
All in the back hole.
He always had he had a damn revolver, didn't he?
The Colt Lightning. Yeah, was
that a Lightning?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I just noticed that he always had a revolver on him. I didn't realize that was a Lightning. Interesting.
Yeah, it's Colt Lightning. So
that's pretty
It gets around, apparently. Maybe it was Doc Holliday's. Maybe that's the story behind it. You never know.
I mean, you never know. It'd be a cool story for the movie,
Right.
I don't know. I know that Billy the Kids were bought. Oh man, not too long ago actually. And it was the highest grossing gun ever sold, like 5.4 million or something like that. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of any of Doc's Lightnings ever being up. So I don't know if if no one has them and they were never found. I don't know, but that would be a cool one to have. Would be Doc Holliday's guns. That would be really cool.
I think they have.
Have they been found?
I think they have. Let's
see here, Doc. While we're doing that, why don't you talk a little bit about the third topic and tell people what they need to do to enter?
Pretty simple. Put the number 14 in the chat. That's a number 1 and a number 4 side by side with no spaces. Don't spell it out. 14 in the chat. And we'll draw here in just a second, and we'll find us somebody that will give us a topic. Remember, if you do put 14 out there in the chat, then please go ahead and be thinking about the topic, because we don't want to be sitting here. Be present when we draw as well. And we'll give you a few minutes to do that. What'd you find? Anything?
I found most of them were lost, but one popped up in 1994 is an 1866 Derringer. Remington Derringer number 474, and it says to Doc from Kate, a 41 caliber rimfire single action spur trigger superposed barrel with an oscillating firing pin, which fired each barrel in turn. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, I remember about that one. It's the one that Kate.
What it sold for, I don't know. There have been Yeah, there have been no other guns that have been a direct link to Doc. There have been a lot of guns that have been suspected to have been his. That said, this one they know it was because it was documented that he had it and it was engraved exactly how it was supposed to be. So they pretty much sure they got those up. So the sorry, I'm easily impressed. I never dated anyone. I'm still a virgin, so you have to understand that, Ozzy. I'm not comfortable around girls. I'll get very nervous and shy around girls. Clover knows this to be true. But no, the random topic viewer is brought to you by our friends over at Monstrum Tactical and great friends over there. Monstrum. I'm sure they're coming up on your podcast. Are they not here pretty soon? At least sometimes. Oh, they're not this season?
No. I've been having a tough time.
Is Chris? I haven't got a hold of Chris at all.
Yeah, I've been having a tough time getting a hold of Chris, so I don't know what he's off into.
Maybe they're just busy as hell.
Off into something, probably.
I'm hoping they're busy. Were they? I don't remember. Were they at TriggerCon last year? I think they were. Were they not?
Monstrum was not.
Okay.
Except for NRAM and Shot.
That's the one where they really go.
Okay. Yeah. Big shows. Okay. Yeah. Seems like.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see them in January and find out what the hell's going on.
I don't see any 14s in the chat. What's up, folks? There's some 14s out there.
Just type the number 14. Pete Rose. Just think Pete Rose. Type the 14.
True.
And like I said, we're challenging you guys from now on for the rest of the season. Try to come up with weird topics. It could be guns, food, cars, trucks, music, spearmint rhinos. I mean, I don't know.
That's
yeah. But just try Daisy. Yeah, we're Daisy Dukes. Hooters at midnight,
Yeah, Hooters at midnight with old crusty
vets, man. That was great. Veterans, not the cars. Right. But yeah, we want you guys to try to come up with some fun topics for us to talk about. Try to give us a tough one that we might not know much about, which could really be fun. Send us down a rabbit hole. We're going to challenge you to try to stump us with the third topic, and you can't do that unless you type the number 14 in this episode.
This is true. As far as so Fluffy says, I just mounted my Monstrum 1 to 10 LPPO on my build. It's a 1-10.
Yep.
X24. So
yep, it is a 24.
But
millimeter. Yeah, it is.
Scope specs always get people.
Well, and here's the thing: we knew what he was talking about. So
the Banshee, the first focal plane is the Panzer. And then I played around with this. What was it? Yesterday, the day before. Man, I can't even think of it. It's a red dot they've got though, a newer one.
I've got a Ghost. I've got the oh crap.
Yeah, I can't think of the name.
The Cerberus was. I think the Cerberus is the Prism.
Nah, it's not. It's a small. It's like a.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's like a handgun style. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Man, that's aggravating. That's aggravating because I can't remember. But I mean they've got the standard red dots. They got the LPVOs that you would of course use on mostly rifles, and then or PCCs of some sort, larger format pistols, and then rings. Man, the rings and the rails and the mount, the other stuff's crazy with the amount of stuff they got. And they were running a Labor Day sale that may still be going on. By the way, you may want to jump over there and check. I forget now what it is or what it was, but I remember putting Monstrum. I remember putting them their sale stuff into the. If you followed any of my social media, the blog post I had with all the deals for this week.
Yeah,
so I do know they had a
sale.
The
Ghost, you've got. Oh man, I'm over here. I'm trying to get to this website. It doesn't say. It says red dots. The only thing they have on the red dots are the Ghosts. And I've got the Ghost. It's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. Yeah, there's a couple of them.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, I don't know either. But they've got plenty of stuff. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we have we've given people, I think, enough time
Should
at this
should be a
point.
couple in there.
You think? Here we go.
Yeah,
We
there's a
got
couple. There's a couple coming in late,
a couple
which is
coming
good.
in.
Like I said, we want you to try to stump us. We appreciate some of the topics, but get creative. Oh, Mark says, "Please let me lose this time." No, he doesn't want to go. Try.
Well,
Yeah, like I said, have fun.
you've got some competition in there. I don't know if Scott's
Yeah.
going to get his 14 in, but Scott just showed up. So um, here we go. Let's spin it. Here we go.
All right. We
Now
got
we're in here several times, so you may have to
right.
re-spin this thing. Is the only problem. I put it out there in the chat, and I got to remember not to do that. But
Foxtrot.
I
All
don't know that
right.
I don't know that Foxtrot has won before.
I don't
So.
remember him ever winning, so that'd be good. Give us a topic, Foxtrot, and let
Got about
us.
30 seconds, Foxtrot. So get it out there quickly as you can. We still got some other folks. Who's that? Caravaggio? I don't know that I've seen
Yeah,
Caravaggio out there.
I've never heard the name before. Welcome to the
Welcome.
dark side.
Definitely got his topic loaded up, but
Yeah, he was ready to go, wasn't he?
yeah.
I'm assuming
If,
gender here, so I
if
apologize if I
Foxtrot,
offend you.
right? If Foxtrot doesn't put something out there in the next 10 seconds, and he may not. We're gonna draw this
Closed
thing
mouth
again.
mafia. I haven't heard that one before either. Do you know that one? Closed mouth mafia.
I haven't.
Yeah,
So apparently
awesome,
somebody is
awesome.
maybe somebody is sharing with some new
I
folks out
love it.
there.
I
I'll spin
love
it
it.
again, Foxtrot. Hate your luck, buddy.
Unless it pops up while we're
We have
waiting.
to, right. We have to move along. 30 seconds. There we go. And we
Oh,
already got
so we already got his
we,
question, don't
we
we?
already got the topic. So how about them apples?
Here
All
you
right.
go. Top 5 guns of the Wild West era. And for bonus points, what do you know about Jesse James? I am not a historian on Jesse James. I know. I'll start out with Jesse James. I know that he did what he did for revenge, 1, 2 for survival, and 3 just to stick it to the man. That said, all accounts historically that I've ever read or heard about saying that he was very much a gentleman, was very much liked by pretty much everybody. There were most of the time when he went into a bank, they just asked him to come in and just open the doors and say, take what you want. But he was a very well liked in society. They said he's a very gentlemanly person. He was very polite. So, he's known as the outlaw Jesse James, but from all that I've gathered, he was a very good person, very upstanding person, just was forced into certain things that, maybe not weren't his fault, but everything that I've ever heard about Jesse James is he was a very good man, aside from being one of the greatest outlaws ever. Then it doesn't make him a bad guy. It just makes him an outlaw, which maybe the outlaws were the good guys back then. I don't know.
Well, a lot of people don't think about this, but if it weren't for outlaws, Texas would not have won its independence from
This is
Mexico.
absolutely true. 100%.
Texas was pretty much all outlaws. It was people
All
that
outlaws.
they in the United States at the time, were basically outcast, whatever, all the way down. I mean, Sam Houston was a drunk, right?
Absolutely.
What is it? Jim Bowie killed a guy.
They say multiple, but they know he did one. They know he did one.
Travis, William Travis his wife was essentially a hoe and was pregnant with another man's baby, so he was like besmirched, and I mean nothing he did of his own doing, but
it is what it is.
Yeah, he was basically an outcast at that point, and so all those guys, and they come here and look what happened, right?
Yeah.
So Yeah, I guess I'll answer. Maybe I can answer the top five here. I don't know, but
I got a couple.
um,
Obviously, the single action army was
yeah,
great. The
yeah.
Henry was
Mhm.
a huge one. But I don't know as much about that nearly as you. So I will yield the rest of my time to the gentleman from Texas.
Yeah, top five. I mean, obviously, Peacemaker, the Colt single
Yeah,
action, is got to make an appearance. The gun that won the West, um, got to make an appearance. So your Winchester,
your
uh,
Winchester. Yeah, I'm
18,
a Henry guy, but yeah, the
1873,
Winchester is probably more iconic, I guess, isn't it?
the 1873. Well, the Winchester came earlier.
Yeah.
Um, your your 1851 Navies.
See, I was going to ask you
That
that.
era was still around.
I was going to ask you. I mean, I know the Navy is now looked at as a collectible and a great gun, but I wonder, like, was it? Have you ever read or know much about how it was received back then? Was it still like a great gun considered, or over time did that become a great gun or an
I think
iconic gun?
no, I think it was always like a thing. I mean, you're talking military contract with it. It was outdated. I don't
Yeah,
know how the sentiment was because it would be interesting to have a time machine, even if you could not interact with anything. You just kind of showed up as a ghost or what do they call that, astro projected, back
sure.
into
I'll
time,
take your word for it.
and was just able to observe. Like you couldn't change anything or
Yeah,
whatever, and you couldn't once you went back into the future. Like you didn't remember certain things, like you couldn't go back and get lottery numbers, for example, or something.
sure, sure. Yeah,
Anyway, um, so the um, or take lottery numbers, I meant, not get them. Um, so I don't know, but I've got to think that it was probably something along the lines of you know that became old tech. You know what
yeah,
I mean? It's
sure.
because things moved so fast back then.
Yeah,
That was a really cool era with the invent of the cartridge and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
That it would be kind of like maybe somebody having a 1911 nowadays. You know what I mean?
Okay, sure. Yeah,
It's not that it was a horrible thing or nothing, but or maybe even somebody having a revolver nowadays. It's not like
yeah,
it was a horrible thing having quote unquote old tech, but uh, I mean it worked, and if you could shoot it
yeah,
well, who
yeah.
cares, right?
Grid up there wants to know what the question is. Top five guns of the Wild West. Now, let me ask you this. I know this gun because it's a famous gun because of Billy the Kid. But was the Schofield considered a great gun back then, or is it just a famous because of Billy the Kid? Were there other guys? Was there a lot of guys carrying that Schofield?
Not nearly as much as there were like single actions and
Yeah, yeah, okay,
uh, and 1851s, simply because of the prevalence of those versus the Schofield.
yeah, sure,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Um, so I would say, what did we mention? I mean, we mentioned the Colt
We've the
830 single
Army,
action,
the
51.
Winchester, the Navy, the Schofield. I mentioned the Henry, obviously.
Now,
Um,
you mentioned with the Derringer that Kate gave
oh,
Doc
sure, yeah,
Holliday.
yeah,
Derringers were huge, huge, huge,
yeah,
without a doubt. Um, and then later on, I mean, toward the end, probably. But you got the sharps. I mean, when
yeah,
you really started getting into some of the long range stuff, I mean, you can't overlook the 1874 sharps. We talked about Quigley earlier, so
yeah. There
there you
you go.
go.
Yeah,
Um, Interesting how this tied into some of the movies we talked about earlier, but um, there's not a lot. I mean,
Grid says
Caravaggio
the
had
Colt
asked about
Pocket Hammerless or the Stevens SXS shotgun. Do you know much about any of those?
um, when did the
I'm
Colt
not
Pocket
sure.
Hamlet come around?
I
That
don't
was
know.
prior. That wasn't like Western guns, was it?
Yeah, I don't know. Um, I don't know. But the Stevens, was there a famous Stevens shotgun back in the day during the Wild West? Oh, he's saying 1903. There you go. Well, what people
0738.
consider the Wild West was 1880s or into early 90s. Is kind of um,
Yeah,
what
O three is
most would
getting more
consider
up
the
in the
Wild Wild West. You know?
Yeah, that's a semi-auto, so it's definitely semi-auto is not going to be,
Yeah,
in my opinion, considered Wild Wild West
yeah.
or Wild West. Be up to
Wild
shortly
Wild
after,
West.
well, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Wild Wild West. Actually, Grid Shaft's the one. But yeah, Grid Rich is the Lamont. Now, Lamont is awesome. But I wouldn't call that one of the top five simply because of the rarity of the Lamonts. Actually, we know where two are at.
Yeah.
They're in a little
Uh,
museum in Oklahoma.
if you ever get a chance to get to Tulsa, go and you just keep going about 15, 20 minutes. And one of the coolest experiences you'll ever have is the J.M. Davis. Got to go check it out, man.
Right,
Anyways, sorry.
right. No, you're fine. You're fine. I don't think
Yeah,
I
so
have.
I know some of these guns, but I was never like a big Wild West guy. You asked me about military stuff. That's my gig, baby. But I knew Clover had that handle. But obviously, everyone knows the single action army. Everyone knows the Winchester 30 lever and all that. But yeah, it was interesting here, and I never even heard of the. I mean, the what was it that he was talking about? The oh crap.
Which one was it?
The
The Navy?
no, I heard no the Steven shotgun. He was talking about. Someone was talking about up there. I
Oh,
mean,
the
I've
Stevens
heard
side
of
by side.
I've heard of I've heard of Stevens, but I didn't know that was. I didn't know they went that far back into the Wild West. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
they did. You've seen even a lot of. I'm gonna say imported. There wasn't no such thing as importation back then.
right,
If somebody brought it on, we're on a boat, it came in, right? Um, but probably even could ship it. I'm sure,
probably. Yep.
or something through the mail. Um, there were a lot of shotgun companies back then, so I don't know which was the most
Yeah, I just
prevalent.
didn't know that. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew there was a lot of shotguns. I didn't
Yeah,
realize that Stevens went that far back as a
yeah.
company.
Stevens was in like the 1860s, 1870s, somewhere in
Okay.
there
Yeah.
when Stevens
Nice.
started. So I mean, that's in that era, falls in
Yep.
that era. Now I don't know
For
when they
sure.
started making double barrels. Um,
Yeah.
or how long after that they started making double barrels. But
Yeah.
you've got a 30-year span there, so I would
Yeah.
think probably some of
Exactly.
them at some point were. Um, yeah.
Absolutely. All
Um,
right. Well, thank you, Caravaggio. We appreciate you.
Caravaggio.
Welcome. Like I said, haven't seen you before. Haven't seen a couple guys out there before. Welcome, or gals. Welcome to the dark side. We know that we're not going to educate you in this show. Honestly, we just try not to make you any dumber. So thank you, and thank you the for the topic. That was awesome.
Yeah.
The greener was a big thing too. Scott says, "What's a greener?"
I'm not
That
sure what he's
I
talking
don't
about.
know. I don't know. I don't know. Old West stuff. I'm not the guy. But what you got coming up this week? We might be. I'm not. We missed last week. That's because of me. I worked 130 hours the previous week, and I was not feeling. So those of you who showed up last week, 8 o'clock, I was asleep. I appreciate you guys showing up. That was my fault. That's why we're doing it. We're going to double up, so we might be doing another one in a week from now. So just stand by for the standby. But
Yeah.
what you got coming up this week? I know that the you had a Matador Arms earlier today. You had the podcast is in full swing again.
Dude, the that was awesome. So David, and I'm not gonna give a spoiler alert. People are gonna have to go check that out, and you'll have to check it out on the CloverTac Podcast channel because once we end live, it gets nixed on the main channel. So either on the CloverTac Podcast channel or I'll get that in audio podcast replay, so it'll be on your audio podcast platforms. Hopefully here before too long. But I learned stuff in that. There
Yeah,
was
you got
several things
educated.
that
Nice.
yeah, definitely there was several things that I didn't understand, like why they were doing things the way that they were doing them. Um, that and he kind of went into some history and some other stuff, and I'm like, oh snap, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. And like I said, I don't want to give it away too much, but yeah, I've got I want to say like three podcasts this week.
There you go.
That's the first of I think like three. I think we've got Garrett metal detectors, and armed Atlas. It
Okay.
seems like I got those two this week as well. Garrett Metal Detectors was a late add to the podcast schedule.
Yeah,
I'm
I
really looking
remember you
forward.
mentioning that a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was at
Yeah,
Knoxville we were talking about. I can't remember. But
yeah,
when you said that, I didn't know how that came about. So
yeah. So, content, the normal content will be a little bit light probably this month, just with the trip to TriggerCon and with the podcast season in absolute full swing. But we've got tons to work with. Tons going on from connections we made at Goals. There'll be stuff coming out of TriggerCon as well. So, yeah, just a lot going on. What about you?
answering for me, Mark out there says, Ghost Clover, your movie quotes are confusing. Ghost, Gone in 60 Seconds. Yes, that is correct, sir. Clover, Star Wars. So
Not even.
not close, but no. We like to have fun with our movie quotes. So and TV quotes. We always do a quote on this show, this channel. We it's good. For me, yeah, tomorrow I've got tomorrow morning we'll be dropping we're dropping our Knoxville content this week. Between the last couple weeks, it's been an absolute nightmare in my life of just being tired and working. Today was EA. Tomorrow, God, don't get me going. I think it might be Cox Arms. The day after that, I think it's going to be Anderson. The day after that's going to be maybe Fight Light. So this week you're going to start seeing a lot of our Knoxville content coming out. We're going to try to
Shock
put
and
one a
awe.
day.
Yeah.
Shock and awe, baby. And all that. Obviously, Tuesday nights the Armed Citizen podcast. But yeah, looking forward to getting back to the range. Now that, like I said, August is hell for me. September's not bad. October's busy, but September is usually not terrible. Thank God for college football because no one wants to do anything on weekends and stuff anymore because football started. So I'll be able to get to the range, and I've got to get to the range and get about 6 different videos done. But looking forward to doing them. So you'll start seeing. Not just with the Knoxville stuff, but the shock and y'all, as Toby Keith called it, the shock and y'all will start happening on the channel, which I can't wait. I finally am going to have time. But most of you guys know, and I appreciate you guys. You guys know that summertime is difficult for me for content. You guys that have been around from the beginning know this. There is we try to put out something like once or twice a month through the summer, but that's about it. That's about all we have time. So thank you for everyone that knows our schedule. But looking forward to it. Getting back out to the range. Faux shizzle. Yeah, thank you guys for watching this live. If you're watching this in replay or listening to this in podcast form, we do invite you to come join us for the live recording. This is recorded in front of a quote unquote live studio audience, if you will. But join the live chat as we record these on Sundays. And it's a great crowd out here. A lot of good people in the side chat. We've seen a few new ones tonight, which is awesome. I wonder if they came from replay or podcast form. I love it. Welcome. Tell your friends. Bring more people. And we always thank you for supporting Clover's channel and all of his projects and my projects and channel. But we do ask you to go support our sponsors as well. European American Army, EAA, and Monstrum are both wonderful to our channels. They're great friends of ours personally. More importantly, you don't have, obviously, if you can go buy something from them, that'd be wonderful. But worst case scenario, just go drop them a line on social media. Go find a random post on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram and just make a comment. Hey, thanks for sponsoring the Ghost and Clover podcast. That means a lot. So Grid says he came specifically to Smack Talk Clover.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Bring it on. Bring it on. I love it. But no, it's companies that are willing to take a chance on Clover and I a couple years ago, and we had this corny idea of this show, and we're loving doing this. And thanks for the companies that have stuck by us and all that. But more importantly, they're friends of ours. We just ask you to go be friends of theirs, right?
Yep, 100%.
You got anything else before we got to get out of here?
If I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer.
Man, I just stole 50 cars in one night.